Chapter 1: The Arrival. The heavy clang of iron doors reverberated through Graystone Penitentiary, an unsettling welcome to its stark, unforgiving environment. Jack, a former schoolteacher now branded a criminal, penned his thoughts in a small, worn diary during his first night. "Everything feels suffocating," he wrote, the words trembling with fear and disorientation. The cold concrete walls loomed ominously, reflecting the reality of his confinement. Echoes of distant voices and footsteps created a haunting symphony, amplifying his feelings of isolation. In the dim light of the cell, Jack struggled to reconcile the life he once knew with the grim reality before him. "Can I ever find forgiveness for my mistakes?" he pondered, his heart heavy with regret. The oppressive silence of the prison could almost drown out the flicker of hope within him, an ember waiting to be reignited amid despair. As he closed the diary, the sounds of the prison crept back in, melding into the pulse of his new life. Chapter 2: The Weight of Regret. As Jack settles into his new reality behind the cold, unforgiving walls of Graystone Penitentiary, he reflects on the pivotal moments that led to his embezzlement conviction. His diary entries reveal a mind grappling with self-loathing and disappointment, each word weighted by the burden of regret. "I thought I was doing what was best," he writes, his voice trembling with vulnerability. The distant sounds of inmates sharing stories in the background serve as a haunting reminder of shared failures, resonating through the concrete corridors. Jack's mind replays the events, temptations that spiraled out of control, the betrayal of trust, and the haunting echoes of his students' faces, all now a world away. In this isolated space, he grapples with forgiveness, not just from others, but from himself, yearning to find a flicker of hope amidst the darkness. This chapter captures the profound struggle within, the weight of regret that binds the souls of those behind bars. Chapter 3: Maria's Story. As the cold bars of Graystone close around her, Maria reflects on the day that changed her life forever. In her diary, she writes about the overwhelming isolation that envelops her like a thick fog. "I promise I didn't do it," she whispers into the pages, her heart heavy with the weight of wrongful conviction. Maria's dreams of freedom feel like distant stars just out of reach. Ambient sounds of footsteps echo down the hallway, punctuating her solitude. Memories of her family flood her mind, laughter shared over dinner, hugs that felt like home. With every entry, she pours her longing onto the pages, reminding herself that hope exists, even in the darkest corners of a prison. The soft strains of melancholy music underscore her sorrow, while hints of determination flicker through her words. Through it all, Maria's spirit remains resilient, a flickering flame in the shadows. Chapter 4: Unexpected Friendships. In the dim light of Graystone's common area, Maria's heart began to thaw, her loneliness pierced by the warmth of an unexpected friendship. As she penned her diary entry, she reflected on her late-night conversations with Tommy, the gang member who surprised her with his dreams of writing a novel. Their bond blossomed over whispered hopes and shared regrets, illuminating the stark isolation that often enveloped them. Tommy, with his mischievous laugh and tender spirit, became a beacon of light in her world of shadows. Maria found herself inspired, awakening a creativity she thought long dead. She wrote about their dreams, captivated by the energy of possibility that filled their stolen moments together. Ambient sounds of laughter and soft chatter formed a comforting backdrop as they shared snippets of their lives, ghost stories, aspirations, and the art of living in a world gone dark. In the heart of despair, their friendship became a lifeline, breathing hope into their confined existence. Chapter 5: The Dark Side of Graystone. The stark fluorescent lights flicker above as Rashid, a former gang leader, begins to pen his thoughts in his diary. His entries reveal a labyrinth of corruption within Graystone, where guards solicit bribes and gang alliances dictate survival. The chilling echoes of shouted threats and the clinking of metal resonate through the cold concrete walls, capturing the constant atmosphere of fear and intimidation. Rashid recalls the chaotic nights when rival factions clashed, leaving scars, both physical and emotional, on those involved. In candid reflections, he confronts the bitterness of his past choices, articulating a desire for redemption amidst the looming darkness of prison life. "Every decision carries a weight," he writes, his words heavy with remorse. As the sound of distant fights fades, a deeper silence settles, hinting at the quiet desperation for change that flickers beneath the surface, waiting to be ignited by the slightest spark of hope. Chapter 6. Life in the Shadows. As Rashid sits in his solitary cell, the weight of his past choices bears down on him. In his diary, he unravels the haunting memories of his former life as a gang leader, an existence steeped in violence, betrayal, and fear. "I was respected, feared," he writes, "but at what cost?" The sound of clinking metal and distant shouts fills the background, mirroring the chaos that defined his earlier days. Rashid reflects on the psychological toll of incarceration, describing nights spent tormented by regrets and restless thoughts. Yet amid the turmoil, a flicker of hope emerges. He yearns for redemption, but the shadows of his past loom large. His diary entries are raw and brutally honest, revealing a vulnerable heart striving for change within the dark confines of Graystone. The cacophony of prison life underscores the reality that even in the shadows, the desire for a better tomorrow can ignite the spark of transformation. Chapter 7. Shattered Calm. As tensions simmer beneath the surface of Graystone, the atmosphere thickens with unease. Diary entries from various inmates hint at unrest, revealing whispers of grudges and frustrations that have been building over time. Rashid's voice rises, detailing the unease among gangs and the confrontational behaviors that have begun to erupt. "It's just a matter of time," he writes, a foreboding note trailing off into silence. The sound design intensifies, incorporating the rattle of metal bars and distant shouts. An unsettling hum fills the air, amplifying the fear that circles like a predatory bird. Patrols of guards grow increasingly heavy-handed, exacerbating the desperation felt by the inmates. As darkness falls, the tension snaps, plunging the prison into chaos. The riot erupts, a cacophony of raised voices and clattering footsteps, marking a pivotal moment where the fragile calm is irrevocably shattered, pushing each inmate to confront their buried demons. Chapter 8. Confrontation and Clarity. The riot erupted like a storm, an unsettling cacophony of shouts and clattering metal forcing every inmate at Graystone to confront the dark truths they had long buried. Amid the chaos, diary entries reveal a powerful shift. Jack reflects on the fragility of life, while Rashid grapples with his past, recognizing that the violence he once embraced no longer serves him. Maria, caught in the turmoil, finds clarity in realizing the strength of her voice, determined to stand firm despite the chaos surrounding her. As the dust settles and silence begins to fall, each character experiences a transformative moment. The sound design shifts from chaotic roars to a haunting stillness, laying bare their vulnerabilities. In the recesses of their minds, the inmates speak of forgiveness, not just for others, but for themselves, a newly ignited desire to redefine their identities and seize the opportunity for redemption. Chapter 9. Redemption Awaits. As the sun rises over the desolate landscape surrounding Graystone Penitentiary, a sense of hope seeps into the cold concrete walls. Jack, Maria, and Rashid gather for a meeting that introduces new rehabilitation programs aimed at fostering personal growth. In their diary entries, they express cautious optimism and a yearning for change. Jack reflects on the weight of his past, yet feels the stirring of ambition, contemplating how he might contribute positively to society upon his release. Maria shares her dream of using her art as a voice for the voiceless, envisioning murals that tell their stories. Rashid, seeking redemption, contemplates using his experiences to mentor younger inmates. Uplifting music cascades throughout this moment of unity, allowing the listeners to feel the power of transformation and the possibility of new beginnings. Together, they embark on a journey toward redemption, each echoing a sentiment: change is within reach. Chapter 10. Art as Expression. Maria stood in the prison's art room, the starkness of gray walls softened by the explosion of colors in her paint palette. As she began to create her first mural, a vivid depiction of hope rising from despair, her diary entry captured the transformative power of art. "With each brushstroke, I feel pieces of my spirit reawakening," she wrote. The rhythmic sounds of brush against canvas echoed in the room, mingling with the laughter of fellow inmates who gathered to watch and contribute. Art became a sanctuary, allowing Maria to express her pain and aspirations. "I want to show the world that we are more than our mistakes," she mused. The atmosphere was electric, filled with camaraderie and inspiration as inmates shared their own stories through creativity. As vibrant murals began to decorate the prison walls, Maria felt a renewed sense of purpose, and the once cold confines of Graystone began to feel alive with possibility. Chapter 11. Lessons of Brotherhood. In the dimly lit common room, the atmosphere is charged with a sense of camaraderie that transcends the prison walls. Tommy reflects on how his friendship with Rashid has become a lifeline amidst the chaos. Their late-night conversations, once filled with bravado, now explore vulnerability and shared dreams. In his diary, Tommy writes about the strength that comes from their bond, realizing that understanding and compassion can flourish even in the harshest of environments. Rashid, too, contemplates the power of brotherhood, noting how it has softened the edges of a once violent existence. He shares anecdotes of laughter and solidarity, emphasizing that these connections not only uplift spirits, but also spark the desire for change. As inmates collaborate on a community project, the sounds of teamwork, chuckles, whispers of encouragement, and the rustle of paintbrushes create a harmonious backdrop. Together, they forge a path of healing, proving that hope can thrive in the darkest of places. Chapter 12. Facing Freedom. As the weight of impending release looms over Graystone Penitentiary, an air of anticipation mingles with trepidation among the inmates. In their cells, Jack and Maria reflect on the tumultuous journey that brought them to this moment. Jack's voice is filled with a mixture of hope and fear as he contemplates the world outside. Will anyone forgive him? Can he rebuild his shattered life? Maria's diary entry expresses a poignant blend of excitement and anxiety. She longs for freedom but is haunted by the uncertainty of acceptance in a society that turned its back on her. The sound of keys jingling and distant conversations permeates the atmosphere, capturing the inmates' nervous energy. As they prepare for their new beginnings, the emotional resonance of their stories intertwines with the outside world's promises and challenges. With solidarity, they share final moments of camaraderie, embracing both the fear of the unknown and the hope for a brighter future. Chapter 13. Stepping into the Light. As the heavy doors of Graystone Penitentiary creak open for the first time in years, Jack stands at the threshold, his heart racing. I never imagined this day would come, he writes in his final diary entry. His words reflect a whirlpool of emotions, excitement tempered by fear of the unknown. Maria, standing beside him, clutches a small sketchbook, her fingers trembling as she recounts the beauty and chaos of her journey. Every stroke of my pencil will carry the weight of my past, she reflects, a symbol of her resilience. The sounds of the outside world filter in, birds chirping, cars whooshing by, all foreign yet intoxicating. As they step into the warm light of day, hope envelops them like an embrace. Jack's thoughts turn to the future, filled with the promise of second chances. Together, they take their first steps, leaving behind the shadows of Graystone, while the echoes of their past transform into melodies of hope.